to the program this morning. So we're jumping into a conversation that kind of, it's a feel-good conversation, you know, so it's the power of sport, and this goes far beyond medals. It builds confidence, fosters inclusions, and transforms lives. So we're talking about, oh gosh, sorry. We're talking about Special Olympics, Trinidad and Tobago. So joining us on the program now is Mr. Ferdinand Bibby. He's the National Director of the Special Olympics of Trinidad and Tobago. Good morning, Mr. Bibby.
Good morning to you and to the listening public.
Great, thank you. How are you this morning?
I'm fine, a little tired, but
Yes.
getting ready for Saturday, making sure everything is in place.
Awesome. So for those of us who may not fully understand or know or are aware of, what is the Special Olympics, and what is the mission behind the Special Olympics in Trinidad and Tobago?
Okay, so Special Olympics is a worldwide organization that provides sporting opportunities for persons with intellectual disabilities. Its mission is to provide year-round sports training and competition for both children and adults with intellectual disabilities. But at Special Olympics, we always say that while we do sport, we do more than that. Because sport, we use that as the vehicle to attract the athletes out of their homes, and then we use the sporting environment to help work on building their self-confidence, building their self-esteem, fostering inclusion and acceptance by the wider community. So it's more than a sporting movement, it's inclusion and respect movement.
How is the Special Olympics different from Paralympics?
That's something we always have to explain. Now, Paralympics also provides for persons with intellectual disabilities. Paralympics is the international body that provides for persons with disabilities. However, Paralympics is predominantly facilitating persons with physical disabilities, as well as, most importantly, elite athletes. So you have to be at the top of your game to qualify to participate at a Paralympic Games. Special Olympics, however, is more grassroots, and we try to attract persons of varying abilities and provide competition for them at our games. So while Paralympic, you have a standard qualifying time or distance to make it, so only the best would go. In the Special Olympic World Games, countries are offered quotas to participate.
What the persons who are part of the Special Olympics, is the Paralympics something that they kind of train towards, or it's a goal that they set?
Well, in some instances, but to qualify for Paralympics, you have varying classes of athletes, classes of disabilities. So unless you fall within one of those classes, you wouldn't be eligible to participate at the Paralympic. But if there are any athlete that is involved in Special Olympics who could also qualify and move on, of course, that's the goal. So we use a pathway of learning to play sport, learning to like sport, learning the fundamentals of sport, involving in Special Olympics. But of course, we always push our athletes to transition to whatever other means. So in the past, we have had athletes who have transitioned into mainstream sports. We had Tamika Campbell, who would have started with us beach soccer and would have gone on to be part of the uh, Trinidad and Tobago beach soccer team that went to the Junior Commonwealth Games and won gold in 2018. We have Ansel Green, who was a very accomplished swimmer in Special Olympics, and he would have graduated into the mainstream competition, competing in triathlons. And he, for a short period, he would have been at the top of the game, both locally as well as regionally in triathlon. Recently, we had Trent Bettel, who would have qualified for a national open water swim team. So there is that pathway that athletes could move on not only to Paralympics if they can qualify, but also mainstream sports.
Mr. Bibby, I must say I love your passion, the way you're able to just rattle off the names and the energy that you speak about them with. I wanted to know where does your passion come from personally to you?
Well, it comes from the athletes themselves, because I I started off coaching mainstream sports. I coached football with the prison service for a number of years. But while coaching mainstream sports, I also coach Special Olympics. And the greatest difference was that you have athletes in mainstream sports who, at the age of 25 and 26, are ready to hang up and they're frustrated and they don't want to. But Special Olympic athletes who, because they have limited opportunities, are competing in their 50s, 60s. When they see you on the road, coach, when next we having training, coach, they look for opportunities. So that energy that the athletes give off of always wanting additional opportunities is my feeder.
All of these games I'm seeing that you guys participate in, if I'm pronouncing it incorrectly, please correct me, is a boshi?
Bocce,
Bocce. Can you
yeah.
explain a little bit more about what that is?
Well, bocce is a game, something like lawn bowling, where the opponents, they roll out a target ball, and then they have four balls to roll, and the objective is to try to get your balls as closest to the target ball
Oh, okay.
as possible. The closest exam visualization, the sport of curling.
Yes.
Right. So you see how there's a target ball, and then they send out this big um, ball and try as much as possible to get it as close to that. Well, the same thing happens in bocce, and it's very interesting. It's addictive. Once people
Yes.
see it, they want to play. They want to play.
What do you think is the most popular sport that you've seen be played?
Well, the our athletes are just as any other athlete. So the traditional favorite sport, athletics, is the number one sport in Special Olympics. The greatest number of athletes participate in athletics. But then you have football, you have bocce, we also have cricket to a lesser extent.
I'm seeing
And
equestrian as well.
what's that?
I'm seeing equestrian as well.
Yes. So
Wow.
on the mounted and canine branch have been giving human service for over 30 something years, because they on a daily basis provide a therapeutic riding classes for persons with disabilities. And we piggyback off of that and have athletes train to do the Special Olympic module for competition. And that has been one of the more successful, I mean, in medal-wise, sports for Special Olympics.
I saw members of the Special Olympics participated in Carifta this year. Can you tell us a little bit about that experience for them?
Well, we continue knocking on doors. So as I mentioned, our goal is to foster acceptance, respect, and inclusion. So one of the ways is trying to get our athletes in mainstream sporting activities, community sports, or community leagues. So we would have started discussion with the president of entries, Mr. Ephraim Seret, J. Gordon, the secretary, and this was a culmination of those discussions. Our athletes, well, they were very elated for the opportunity, and more so by the reception given by the spectators, because for some reason we always tend to believe that persons with disabilities can't do. So when they saw the display of the abilities of the athletes as well as the competitiveness of the athletes, they were cheering, and the athletes would have loved that. So much so, the next task we have been given is to try to make leeway for regional representation at Carifta. So how can we have 20 programs in the Caribbean that are involved in Special Olympics? How can we probably expand from having just local athletes participating in Carifta to having regional competition, just like the mainstream athletes do?
So just to understand, was the participation of the Special Olympic athletes in Carifta because Carifta, Trinidad and Tobago hosted Carifta this year?
Yes, well, in 2023, Bahamas hosted Carifta, and that was the first time that Special Olympic athletes participated in Carifta. Okay. They then went on to Grenada in 24, and again, the host country provided opportunities for their athletes. So it was an easy sell to entries for us because of our having athletes to add them in. But what we are saying is competition is competition. Our goal is to have a representation of Special Olympics in all mainstream or community competition. So that was our discussion, and we hoping to expand now that we have started. We don't want to turn back. We don't want Carifta and NACAC to turn back or just restrict it to the host country participation.
Yeah. What kind of training and preparation goes into
Special Olympics? Yeah.
Yes, the Special Olympic athletes?
Well, our national games that we have been starting on Saturday is really the culmination of a one-year cycle. So we would have had national games last year in May. So coming out of that, the athletes would have gone back to their schools and have training. All right. So this competition in May here is really the test of their improvement from last year. But I can tell you that we need help because the special schools need that physical education teacher assigned to the specific school to assist, because persons with intellectual disabilities and persons with disabilities on the whole have a higher incidence of non-communicable disease. And that is mainly because of inactivity. Inactivity because of either stigmatization, because people feel why them must be participating in sport or anything. Overprotection by the parents, because some of them don't believe some of them want to protect them from the stigmatization. So because of stigmatization and overprotection, you have less physical activity by persons with intellectual disabilities. So the need for that physical education teacher in those schools is higher than is higher than mainstream schools because of the end product of higher incidence and of NCD and shortened lifespans.
That's a very, yeah.
Yeah. Can you tell us? I know this weekend is the special or the national games. Yes. So, can you tell us a little bit of what we can expect from these games and the structure of how things run on the day or days?
Well, we start with our opening ceremony. Our opening ceremony provides the official launch of the game. It provides the sponsors, our partners, an opportunity to bring greetings to the athlete. It also involves the recitation of oaths by the athletes, officials, um, coaches, as well as volunteers. You will also see, just like in mainstream Olympic ceremony, you will see an aspect of the torch and the lighting of the torch. What we do, though, is that at our opening ceremony, we send off our team of law enforcement torch runners. Law enforcement torch runners are persons from the protective services, police, prisons, defense force. So they have an awareness run throughout Trinidad, starting from Saturday, and then at the closing ceremony is when the final leg of the torch run comes in and the flame of hope is lit. So what you will see on Saturday is a parade of the teams that are involved in bocce as well as the rest of our games. You'll see representation of them. Then you will see the formal speech given by members of the board, the games organizing committee, some of the sponsors, Ministry of Sport, etc. Then the declaration of the games being open. And then from 10 o'clock to 5 o'clock, you will have bocce competition.
So, what is the significance of the oath, the athlete oath, and the torch ceremony in this
In the games?
in the games? Yeah.
Well, Special Olympics is the only organization outside of the International Olympic Committee that is authorized to use the word Olympics as part of its name, right? And in doing so, our opening ceremonies are expected to mimic the mainstream Olympic Games as much as possible. So some of the same thing, the parade of teams, you will see parade of teams, you will see speech, you may see some entertainment, you will also see oaths. So at our games, our athletes recite the athlete's oath, let me win, but if I cannot win, let me be brave in the attempt. So that signifies the willingness of athletes to give their best in competition, that they understand that while they may not win, the most important thing is improving performance and doing their best. And then the official's vote is really an indication or a promise of the officials that they will officiate at the highest standards, that they will meet the athletes' needs and ensure that competition is done in a transparent way. As well as the other also like volunteers and coaches. It's just their promise to uphold the standards to ensure that the games run as best as they can.
So how long has the Special Olympics in Trinidad have been going on, and what would you say the most memorable experiences or learning lessons that you would have gone through?
Well, Special Olympics Trinidad and Tobago would have started in 1982. We recognize our founder as Miss Clark. We had a bunch of young university students who would have gone away to study and come back to Trinidad. So Mr. Ken Marine, Miss Kathleen Williams, and so they came back with the idea of Special Olympics. And since 1982, we have been in existence. So this is actually our 43rd year of existence. And we have been having national games every year, with the exception of the last 3 years that there were COVID restrictions between 2021, 22. My most memorable experience, or I think it has to be our hosting of the regional beach games in 2024, Special Olympics Regional Beach Games in 2024, because that is a project that is Trini-made, because we had an athlete from a Special Olympic athlete from Tobago who now works with Special Olympics International in Washington. He would have conceptualized, why not have beach games? Why we in the Caribbean are accustomed when we go by the beach playing cricket, football, as the case may be, why don't we have beach games in Special Olympics? And Special Olympics Trinidad and Tobago would have gone on since 2016 to have a multi-sport beach game event. So annually we have 6 areas of competition: open water swimming, we have tried aquathlon, we have had bocce on the beach, we have done beach football, beach volleyball. We have even tried powerlifting as well as athletics on the beach. So we, in recognition of our leadership, we would have been given the opportunity to stage the event last November. We had as many as 10 Caribbean countries coming to Trinidad to participate in that activity. So that stands out as the greatest achievement for me, or most memorable in Special Olympics.
Yes, that's really beautiful. We actually got a little comment from one of our viewers. They said, I think it's time for sports to return back into the country because with all the crime, it's causing a havoc to the citizens. They also added that it can help kids to do something constructive after school instead of getting involved in crime. But my question out of that is, if a special needs individual isn't with a school or a team, how can they become involved with the initiative?
Right. No, the easiest way is through the affiliation of the school. But we are trying to set up community clubs where we can have persons with intellectual disabilities come to those areas and participate in sports training based on whatever. So let's say Tobago, we may have football, cricket, athletics. In San Fernando, we may have 3 other sports. So we are in the process of trying to set that up. However, the challenge, as always, is the resources. 1, access to facilities. 2, access to coaches who are willing to give up their time. And 3, some sort of funding to facilitate the participation of coaches and provision of equipment.
So just going back to the games, I know there are 9 different institutions. This is what I saw online. I hope it's correct, but 9 different institutions and 8 sporting disciplines represented. Is that correct?
Yes, only at bocce. Overall, we have as many as 29 special schools from Trinidad as well as Tobago, right? However, in certain sports, you have more participation than others. So in bocce, you would have nine schools participating. At the end of May, the 28th of May, we will be in Tobago for the 3 special schools there, and we'll be offering athletics, football, as well as bocce to, those schools. We are also contemplating the sport of golf in Tobago because we have some athletes in Tobago who are training in golf.
What kind of partnerships? What kind of partnerships would you all need to make these events, possible and to continue on for many more years to come?
Well, resources. So, as I mentioned, how can coaches be given us? Everybody in Special Olympics at present are volunteers. No one is paid. No one is paid a salary, including me. So all of us are volunteers. Coaches are volunteers, and so you have coaches who have their regular day job or their regular schedules and have to provide time and space also for these special athletes, Special Olympic athletes to train. So what we would like to see is how can the community clubs, because you may have a gym you go to, you may have a club in your community that you know about, but how does that club provide opportunities for persons with intellectual disability? If a person has an intellectual disability and walks into that space, will they be provided an opportunity to train? So we are trying to sell the whole idea of inclusion. We know sometimes that those clubs, the community clubs, may not have the skills or the wherewithal to how to deal with persons with intellectual disabilities. So we provide training for them in those instances.
Yeah.
So you have the technical knowledge of coaching. We will tell you how to operate. So we are always out looking for partnerships to provide funding, partnerships to provide in-kind donations, because the athletes that are attending the games, we have to provide lunches, we have to provide meals. So we have sponsors like the Giselle Foundation, the Ministry of Sport. We have Blue Waters as our water provider, but there is so much more room for assistance, because some of the schools need that transportation. So we look for all avenues. Sometimes we have small givers who would just provide their vehicle to run errands, buy ice, supply ice, drop water, move equipment from point A to point B. As well as we have the services, the protective services who provide ambulances and infirmary officers or first aid practitioners to the games. We have the regional health authority, who we also lean on to provide nurses and ambulances for first aid and safety at the games. So it's all wrong assistance. And as I mentioned, we also do off the field work. We do off the field work in personal development. So we have a program, Athlete Leadership Development Program, where we try to move the athlete towards being a leader to adopt leadership roles in the organization. So on Saturday, you will see one of our MCs is an athlete who has done training on his own in MCing, and we now provide, hey, here's a space for you to practice, because we want to display our athletes and their skills. You will see an athlete playing the anthem on the steel pan, because that is his ability, and we want to showcase that. We have athletes who move on to be officials. So all of that is where we look for support. So you might be able to, in your field, conducting interviews. We would like our athletes to replace me. So when you call for an interview, an athlete to be able to conduct that interview, so you could lend your time in
Yeah.
preparing the athlete in public speaking and
Yeah.
presentation skills,
Do you
because
all currently
that,
have athletes that are able to be a part of interviews or to be interviewed?
yes, yes, the challenge is the logistics of getting them, so once we have sufficient lead time, we can provide athletes. I, I I will tell you, if you come, or when you come on Saturday to the Manu Ramjan Stadium, you will be given an opportunity to interview athletes, find out what Special Olympic means to them, how Special Olympic has touched and saved and changed their lives. Because that is the real story.
Yeah.
That is the real story. We can talk. I can tell you all the history and everything about Special Olympics, but the athlete is the one who would be able to tell you how Special Olympic has made a real difference in their lives. So this is an invitation to
Yes.
you to come with a crew on Saturday and make that your project.
Yeah. Thank you very much. But I want to ask about volunteering. So, what role does volunteering play within the Special Olympics here in Trinidad and Tobago? And then we also got a comment from a viewer. How can someone volunteer to get involved in order to assist with this venture, particularly in rural areas?
Right. So as I said, volunteering has many roles, but on our Facebook page as well as our Instagram page, you will be able to find a volunteer registration form. Of course, the because of our clients, we normally would conduct a screening of the volunteers. So we ask volunteers, fill out the form, give a self-declaration of their history. We do background checks. We ask persons to provide certificates of character, and then we ask them to go online at the Special Olympics in learning portal and do 2 safeguarding courses.
Okay.
Right? That is to provide them with the knowledge of Special Olympics and some of the do's and don'ts, because we have to protect our our athletes. But it's easy. You can also call 391-1383. WhatsApp is available on the number. So if you contact, you can always forward a volunteer registration form for you. So you can get involved. And as I said, more importantly, we are also looking, just as Ms. McLeod said, for how we can reach people in the communities. So you might be able to go to a school in your community and provide some assistance as a volunteer coach, as a caregiver, or just go and learn, just assist. You may be a good, you may have your own work skills that you could give to the athletes or the students in that special school. So the realm of volunteering is
Vast.
vast. Yes, it's vast. It's not just restricted to coaching, because it's about the all-round development of the person with the disability.
So I know that you would be a little bit before you would have made a comment on the social reception, how people receive people with disabilities, and that adding to the reason why there's a lot of a lot of bullying, a lot of scrutinization towards people with disabilities. I just wanted to talk a little bit more about that. The mission of the Special Olympics is to be able to let people know more about the initiative, to have more inclusion. But inclusion comes from information. Not just with the Special Olympics, but do you know of any, let's say, training program or anything just to kind of get the message out there of what the disabilities really are and how to treat people with disabilities?
All right. So on the Special Olympics International website, you can find you can find a lot of information as to how to what is intellectual disabilities, what may be the causes, what may be the types, right? How to interact, the correct language to use around persons with disabilities, because disability is really a social construct rather than a physical construct, because you may have some physical limitation, but that limitation is only amplified because of the lack of social provision of opportunities for you. So you may be using a wheelchair and you might say, well, you're disabled. But if we provide sufficient, meaning we as a society provide sufficient means of transportation for you, one, access to buildings for you, two, embrace seeing you using a wheelchair as a natural thing, then the whole concept of disability is removed, because you will just be another worker or another person
Another human,
that,
another individual. Yeah.
yes, yes, that happens to use a wheelchair. And it's the same thing we say, that persons with intellectual disabilities, once given the opportunity and the support, can lead meaningful lives in society. They may never be able to function at the top academically, but they can still um, they still have their individual dreams. They still have things that they would like to do, because you have the situation where you have persons, their chronological age and their developmental age. That difference, because you may be 40, 45 years old according to the calendar, but your developmental age maybe less than that. So how do you work on bringing those two to an acceptable um, position, yeah, for the individual, so that they can do things on their own. And we try to build that into the training environment. You're responsible for coming on time. So why you didn't come on time? Give a
Yes.
reason. You have a responsibility to come with your training equipment. You have a responsibility to respect the other persons who you are interacting with. So that their social development is also worked on while we work on their physical and technical their technical ability. So that is that, that is what is needed. That is what is needed, and what our mission work towards.
So really quickly, Mr. Bibby, how would you, if you had to give like a grading or an assessment on the types of reception, whether it be governmental or just social, the reception of special needs individuals in Trinidad and Tobago, what would be your rating, your grade?
Well, I wouldn't give a rate, because my experience is it's really an ebb and flow. So
Interesting.
at one point in time, you may see a higher focus on this, a higher, greater attention, and then at another time you see it we know. So how the real battle is, how do you keep it on the
Consistent.
burner on a consistent basis? And that is why we try to have activities throughout the year, so that there is always that reminder that persons with intellectual disabilities are people too and have sporting needs, just like every one of us. So you will see now our games in the month of May. You will see a heightened activity, recognition, interest. Some people may want to participate, but July, August, people tell you Special Olympics. What is that? How it does get involved? What Special Olympics does do?
Yeah.
So every year we have to go through this. We have to go through this the cycle of education, awareness, and acquaintance of the abilities of our athletes.
The work you do is really admirable.
Yes.
So if you had to just leave as we wrap, a little main message to our viewers on what I know that you talked about your message in the beginning, but can you just wrap all of that up for our viewers?
Well, I would simply say on the 10th of May at the Mani Ramjan Stadium from 8:30 a.m., Special Olympic athletes will be on display. Come out, interact, watch, be fans in the stands. Seeing is believing, but experiencing removes all doubt. So come out and see our athletes and be a part of it.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Bibby, for joining us on the program this morning and having this conversation with us. I think we definitely learned a lot, and just understanding that the Special Olympics is a thing and it will continue to be a thing here in Trinidad and Tobago, and then hopefully the wider region as well. So
more than that,
yeah.
I would hope that we have gained 2 additional voices.
Yes,
definitely.
That in your spheres of influence, you now can carry the message about Special Olympics and widen the whole experience.
Yes, definitely. We are on board 100%. It's a great initiative to support. So we're just going to reiterate really quickly the information about this weekend. So the games will commence with the opening ceremony at the Mani Ramjan Stadium in Marabella on May 10th. That's Saturday at 8:30 a.m. And then the games run from May 10th to June 14th. And that's for the national games. And then we have the National Beach Games, which is in October. That's October 25th at Maracas Beach. And then the National Floorball Games in November 22nd of this year. So we have a lot of things to look forward to when it comes to the Special Olympics. And, I think as a nation, we should go and support because we support all our other athletes, and these are athletes too. So definitely go support and let's see, how
we can make this bigger and better every single year.
Yes. Yeah. So thank you, Mr. Bibby. I do hope you enjoy
thanks for the opportunity for being here to spread the word.
Anytime. You come on the show anytime.
Will do.
Yes.
Will do. And I look forward to seeing you
this weekend.
To conduct your interviews this weekend.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll be able to stay for the whole day, but I can come in the morning and see. Yeah.
Definitely.
All right. Thanks so much.
Bye.
So it kind of that was just I'm in shock, and I'm very fascinated, and I do want to go and see, because I've never I've never seen anything of this nature, in a sense. I know like the Paralympics is something that it happens around the same time as the regular Olympics.
I would hope so.
Or sometime after. Yeah. But it's not as popular. That's the base of it. It's not as popular. So I really hope that this is something that we can take seriously and acknowledge as real sporting.
We we encourage you to go out and support, because I mean, at the end of the day, one man supports another man, one man help another, and if it means going out and sharing time and sharing community and volunteering in any way that you can, you lend your skills, you know, all of that is important. So if you go out just to watch and be entertained, or you want to go out and watch just to support, so we encourage you to go out as well. And
we have a list of the teams that will be participating in these sports. I think these are just schools, special needs schools around the country. So we have Happy Haven, Immortal Center, Independence, Lady Ho-Choi Home North, Lady Ho-Choi Home Gasparillo, Lady Ho-Choi School Gasparillo, Lady Ho-Choi School Penal, Mamesa Center, I hope I got that right, National Center for Persons with Disabilities. So those are the participating teams. And then the sports discipline that we can expect: bocce, volleyball, equestrian, athletics, powerlifting.
That one shocked me. I was like, yes.
Powerlifting, wow. Basketball, aquatics, and football. So, yeah, it's real sports, guys. Real sports. They are capable, or else they will not be doing this. So we definitely need to show support.
So yeah, that just about ends our show for today.
We actually have a comment from our discussion earlier on the AI. A viewer said, "Good morning. It is ever evolving and upgrading itself, where it will no longer need humans to upgrade." To upgrade. Yeah. So
that's an interesting take. We want to hope that humans will always have a voice in where AI goes. We want to hope that we'll always be able to tell it what to do. But the reality of that is that we just don't know where it's going to go. We are in unprecedented times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then from our first interview this morning, a viewer said, "Stay home, but if they are retired, you will be expected to help with food and bills. Then you can't be carrying on in your parents' home."
Right, so that was about the real estate discussion when it comes to young people moving out of their parents' home and going into living on their own. So they said, stay home.
Stay home. They said stay home.
In this economy.
If your parents are retired, then you'll be expected to help with food and bills.
What's wrong with that?
Yeah, but once you're home, you can't carry on and do your own thing.
It depends on your parents.
It's true. This is something that we always hear. You know, once you're home with your parents, you have to honor that, respect that. They still have rules, even though you're an adult. You're home. So the rules that you had, I think it would be a little more flexible, relaxed, but there are still rules. I speak firsthand.
Yes. So just about that brings us to the end. So again, a reminder to leave your comments and suggestions for us as you have just done. Continue to do that and let us engage with you. WESNCC, our website, YouTube, Facebook. You can also WhatsApp us, and then you can be featured on AMPrime. So as usual, a reminder to live your life with purpose, and a quote for today to propel your day into greatness. This one is by William W. Perky. It reads, "You've got to dance like nobody's watching, love like you'll never be hurt, sing like there's nobody listening, although we are, and live like it's heaven on earth." I love that quote so much.
Can you say it one more time?
Sure. Okay, so you've got to dance like there's nobody watching, love like you'll never be hurt, sing like there's nobody listening, and live like it's heaven on earth. So poetic.
Yeah, I think that, I feel 10 times happier, more excited for the day, just hearing that. So I really like that quote.
Yes, it's William W. Perky. You could go and read up on what he does, because he's a really inspirational guy. Yeah.
All right, guys. So that brings us to the end of the program this morning. Stay safe, stay informed, and stay inspired. We'll see you back here again tomorrow morning. Bye-bye.
WESN.